Panther Nation, the C3 podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com.
I had fun, man. Just out, the guys joking. We working at the same time. Putting the work in as a team. Like I said, I'm just glad to be with the guys.
My favorite night of the week.
We're gonna go out there and we're playing to win. We're not out here just to show up. We're out here to win.
I don't want guys that want to win, because really, who doesn't? Nobody wants to win. Everybody wants to win. I want players that hate to lose.
Well, this embodies everything that we are as a team, as an organization. Our motto is keep pounding. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying?
What's the deal, Panther fans? Your boy, the professor, here tonight with a little holiday playoff talk. That's right. The Panthers are in the playoff talk. In the playoffs. We're going to be talking about all of that, plus that terrible game that we had to watch, that we all had to muscle through right before Christmas and need a new underwear. And Joe, I asked for new underwear for Christmas after that game. The Panthers pull out the late win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to secure a playoff berth. Tonight's show, new underwear for Christmas, please. Episode 17.47. I'm here with Joe Riolano from the Low Country. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, Joey. And it's not. I'm actually here by myself right now, so we will.
I'm sorry.
He's back. He's back.
I was saying Merry Christmas to you and to all of our listeners, and Merry Christmas to all Panther fans. We got an early Christmas gift. We got win on Sunday, did we not?
I don't know, Joe. Like I said, tonight's show is new underwear for Christmas, please, because things were bad, man. The game. Talk about cardiac cats. We live on, but we live on despite fumbling and bumbling to a near loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where there was little offense. The Panthers secondary seemed to get torched over and over again, but somehow Cam Newton lit a candle for us after fumbling, and we're in the playoffs, Joey. I don't know if that game was terrible. It was a cardiac cat game.
Man, I have to say, I watched the game. I was doing some Christmas shopping with the missus, so I was DVRing the game. And I got home. I hadn't looked at any tweets or anything. I hadn't looked at my phone because I knew somebody was going to be saying anything. So I was watching the game probably about 20 minutes behind. And I kept watching and thinking at some point the Panthers are going to make a play. And we got down late into the game, and in real time, the game was already over. So I'm watching it, and I'm thinking to myself, there's no way we can come back and win this game. At no point did my phone blow up enough to make me think we had won.
That's a good point. Like, it's not shaking.
Right. I'm just sitting there, and I already said to Lindsay, we don't win this game. There's no way we can win this game. And then we score, and there's still some time left, and I'm thinking, if we didn't win this game, they must come back with some type of a big play. A kickoff return for a touchdown or a deep throw that goes for the score. And then, lo and behold, we win the game, and I'm excited because I was expecting to lose this whole time, and right at the end, we end up winning. So there was excitement here at the Riolano home. But it was very tempered because we were awful.
Yeah.
If there was ever a game that we did not deserve to win, that was it.
There's two stories that explain how this game go because everybody. I mean, it was Christmas Eve. Like we were hosting my side of the family at our house. So I was working and cooking and helping my wife do things and watching the game. So like I would walk. I don't have a TV in my living room. I mean, in my kitchen. So and our living room is right beside. So I would do a little stuff and then on commercial breaks, walk out there and watch. Come back, back and forth watching it. And there really wasn't much to watch, to be honest. But my sister comes over. We had watched her son for the day. And my little sister and my baby sister, she's 9 years younger than me. We've never been in an argument. She's like a little doll to me. And I didn't even say anything to her. It was the last 2.5 minutes when she walked in the door. The game was on, and I wasn't talking to anybody. Nobody in my house was paying attention to the game, to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just like, and I wasn't saying a word. I was just watching like this. And she goes, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right." Again, I didn't say anything. I was just watching this game. And then she left and she came back over and she was like, I was like, when you asked me if I was all right, it was this. And me and her husband watched the fourth quarter because he didn't get to see the fourth quarter live. And he was like, "What happened?" I was like, "I can't explain it to you, dude. I cannot explain this fourth quarter to you. It will not do it justice." But she was like, "Oh, I didn't even think that the game might be on." And I was just steaming, dude. Like, my head was just like, she thought I was upset, like mad about watching her kid or something. And I was just like this. I wasn't talking to anybody. And then another one, our buddy Carl Van, he sends me a message on Facebook. He sends me a text on Facebook. He says, "Man, that game about had me pooping my pants." And I said, I messaged back. I said, "I would say no shit, but B-U-T-T." That was it. Like, I mean, good God. Talk about to the wire. Like you said, that was an awful, awful performance and it wasn't, I don't even know where it was bad at. It just wasn't good.
It was bad everywhere. That's what the problem was. I think the silver lining here is, and I think Cam said this, good teams find a way to win.
Well, I tell you one thing, bad teams obviously find a way to lose.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because Tampa did a really good job of that. They found a way. What's the saying? They snatched defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah, they did. Oh my God! When that guy jumped offsides on the 3, I mean, he should be cut right then.
Right then, they should have made him go to the locker room, take his gear off, not even giving him a chance to shower. And leave.
Yeah, just mail us the gear back. Just mail the gear back. It was freaking, I mean, I could not believe that last 2 minutes. And then when Cam fumbled it, Joe. He fumbled.
I know, you're thinking the worst. Like, oh no! Oh yeah!
So we're going to get in and talk a little bit about the game here. Like I said, everybody, Happy New Year. We will be, next time we talk to everybody in YouTube, on Twitter, and everywhere that we interact with the best fans on earth, it'll be a new year. It'll be 2018, and we'll be talking about the Panthers going to the playoffs. Now, tonight's episode, new underwear for Christmas, please. That's a reference to us getting underwear, and this year they're being needed because of the way that game ended. But we've got Ren Dax from the Pewter Plank coming on at 9:15 in just 5 minutes to help us talk about Jameis Winston, his freak out, what happened in this game. And I think I'm Joey. Last week I told him, I said, never kick again. And once again, you see, they missed. I mean, they could have put this game away easily and missed a field goal from 51 yards. That gave us a last opportunity, and we were able to take advantage of that. So everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate you in the chat. Go ahead and hit subscribe. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up. If you're on Facebook, I see Melissa, Tim, thank you for joining in. We will try to monitor these chats as much as we can. There's a lot going on. Go ahead. Trip is here too. Welcome, Trip. You can check him out after the games on Panthers Source. He's got they do a live post game that I'd love to be a part of, but it's just impossible for me with the family to consistently do anything outside of my studio.
Under the Dome, we all had a Christmas present a little early. Got it Christmas Eve when we beat the Falcons.
I'm hearing some Under the Dome is on.
Playoff spot.
Yeah,
wild card or division battle yet. We'll find that out next week after we play the Bucs.
I don't know where it is.
What happens between the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons?
Do you hear that, Joey?
Playing, assuming we win that game, and we will be.
That's Alan.
That's Alan. Alan is on our podcast.
It's gone now.
I don't know where they are.
Well, that was nuts.
I got it. Ha! I found it. Crazy window open. I had an Internet Explorer window open. Whoever opens Internet Explorer, that should tell you why I couldn't find that. Man, that was like the best intro they've ever done for their show too. Good for them. Good for them. All right, so anyway, everybody welcome. Joe, let's talk about this first before Rendax gets here. Rivera breaks down the game, gives the game ball. Everybody's asking. Look, Slim J says the podcast has been hacked. Who is this guy recording? It was that is a podcast that we help them. It's a Saints podcast, Under the Dome podcast. We help them with their.
It would be like a sister podcast for the Saints.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, and the dream one day is to have something like C3 for every team, where we have a network of people that we can guest together. So you have that, you can bring in the guests and that perspective. So we've helped Under the Dome podcast get started. So that's where that was. And and Slim J, it is called Edge. And it was open in the bottom. I was checking all my windows, Joey. It's like, where the hell is this coming from? It was minimized. Couldn't see it. All right. So let's talk about this. Rivera breaks down the breakdown huddle thing they do after the game. 1, 2, 3. Mr. Richardson. He doesn't say Mr., but I think that would have been a nice touch. This has gotten a lot of pushback on social media, Joey. What do you think? What are your thoughts just immediately on that?
I hadn't heard this, so this is news to me with the holidays and everything. I have not been up on my Panthers news. So you're saying Mr. Richardson got to the game ball?
Not the game ball, but you know how they go, they get the guys together at the end and they go, let's break it down on 1, 2, 3, and then they'll say something. And they did 1, 2, 3. Mr. Richardson is what they yelled. And this was orchestrated by Ron Rivera. Mm-hmm. So it's gotten a lot of pushback on social media. And the idea is that Ron Rivera, putting himself behind Richardson after all the stuff that's gone down.
Right. Well, just to take a stab at this without, knowing anything other than what you said, I imagine this is just saying, hey, Mr. Richardson, we're here to support, we support you. We're not saying what you did was right, but you've always treated us fairly, and we've always known you to be a fair guy. So, we're not bailing on you like everybody else. I would think that to be that. That's it. That, hey, you've been good to us. We're still, I don't want to say behind you because I don't want to make it seem like they're okay with anything he did that may have been inappropriate. But that, he's still their owner for the time being, and they recognize that.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with it. I mean, I think it's kind of forced a little, if anything. I don't know. Is that it? Yeah, I'm not going to get all worked up over this and that. I probably would say this is that it's kind of crazy that a billion-dollar owner, a billionaire, had to sell his team or is selling his team over something that is important, but I think in the scheme of the whole society that we live in and all the things that are going on, this isn't like something that's bombshell to me. You know, what we heard coming out of there is that, yeah, is it inappropriate? Should it be condoned? No, no, we're not saying that. But I mean, not a murder. You know, they didn't find a dead body, and you know what I mean. Like, so I'm not saying that. I just feel like there's degrees of things, and so I'm not going to go crazy. Ron Rivera did show that he was, and look, I mean, why wouldn't
boss,
you?
Man.
He's still his team.
Boss. Like, and it's his boss. Like, he's gonna, you know, he's trying to get a few brownie points, perhaps.
Yeah.
That way, if you know they fall apart in the playoffs, it's not, he doesn't get the old heave ho.
And how would it be wise? Maybe you don't have to go pro Richardson at this moment, but how about this? Is like you shouldn't go after your owner at this time either. When you've got a new owner coming in, a new GM coming in, you kind of want to show that you are a
player.
Yeah, an organizational man. We've got Ren Dax on the podcast now, the pewter plank. Ren, what's up, man? Welcome back. 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was pleasantly surprised when you shot me a message earlier tonight, and yeah, I'm more than happy. Like I said, anytime you need me on, I'll be there for you.
Well, you know, thank you so much for joining us, and the reason we got you on more than anything is because I haven't followed the Jameis Winston freakouts as much as some other people have, and I was actually at Michelangelo's, Joey, hanging with your brother, and somebody at the bar was like, hey, what about that Jameis thing? And I was like, I don't really even know what to say tonight. So I was like, I got to get somebody that knows what's going on the show. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Let's just break down a couple of top headlines real quick, and Ren can assist us on this. Is that Joey, our guy, Baby Bird, Damiere Byrd to IR. This is after 103-yard. Here you go. Show you guys this. 103-yard kickoff return to the house, the longest in Panther history. This is important to us. Baby Bird, Damiere Byrd is our guy. He's my guy because he's been on the podcast twice. I messaged him tonight, and not like I message him daily or anything. I haven't messaged him probably since like last year, but he did respond back and say thank you for the support and things like that. He said it was a tough year, but this leaves us, Joey, with, let me tell you these names. This is our wide receiver core: Devin Funchess, Brenton Burson, Russell Shepard. Almost forgot his first name. That's how good he's been this year. Kalen Clay and Mose Frazier, who I've never seen in my entire life. And that is our receiving core. Good God, man.
Frazier was a linebacker. Huh. That tells you what I know.
What's that?
I thought Frazier was a linebacker.
yeah. So, how it's crazy that we're this violent, that we're this disheartened by a guy. I'm not gonna say this is that crazy why we're like this. We have a vested interest in Damiere Byrd. He's our guy, you know what I'm saying? We root for him specifically because of these personal things, but nobody else has been on board through this process. But now everybody on the whole entire planet of Panther Nation is like, oh my God, Damiere Byrd, IR. Damiere Byrd, IR. It's not just Damiere Byrd that the point of their statements is. The point is that this is that Damiere Byrd was this essential at this point.
Yes, he is. He was. Well, you saw the impact he made on the team. Look at what he did in the last 2 games. You know, how impactful has he been over the last 2 weeks? You know, so you take that for, you know, we don't have a speed guy that has been able to have the success he's had in the last 2 weeks. I mean, we know Clay's fast, but
he can't catch. He can't
Right.
catch.
He hasn't had the on-field, offense success that Bird has had.
Yeah,
So
I mean, Bird's a player. The
Yeah.
thing that's crazy about this, Joey, is that, by the way, in the YouTube chat, they said this, is that Mose Frazier is the guy that punched Luke in training camp. Now, Shockhead that said that. Another thing, and when he punched him with the helmet on, so it's not like he really punched him.
Right.
And then my last point on this, and then we'll get to this game. Brenton Burson, he's not even bad to me. Like, he's not bad to me. He's a lifesaver at this point. I've always been, we've been hard on Brenton Burson as a fan base, but I think it's got less to do with him and more to do with that's the best we've had. That we're settling. Like, this is like, hey, we're giving him the spot. We're giving him the spot that this is the ceiling. Right now, thank God for Brenton Burson. Oh, my God. Without him, this receiving core is Devin Funchess.
Yeah.
That's it.
I hurt Funchess.
All right, let me ask Rand about this. 22-19, you guys blew it.
All right.
Yeah, we blew it. Yep. I think when I was on last week, there's a couple of things you're like, you asked me what was wrong with the Buccaneers this year, and one of the things I said, he couldn't get off third down. One of the things I said, when it's the defense's time to stand up, such as keep Carolina from marching down the field and scoring a touchdown, all Bucs fans knew that you guys were going to do that. Like, I'm up here in North Carolina with my girl, sort of visiting her side of the family, and I was in a room full of Panther fans, and I was the only one that wasn't nervous about them driving and getting a touchdown.
Yeah, we're all shitting our pants.
yeah, you guys. I'm like, what are you worried about? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. You don't watch us every week. Don't worry, it's not going to end well for us. So, and I think I also said that every week we figure out a new way to lose, and this week was playing very good defense but giving up a 103-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
That was the only that was the only touchdown you guys put on the board until, what's that? 59 minutes and 25 seconds. Then you scored again. So yeah, that whole game is a microcosm of the Buccaneers. Offense moves the ball, puts up field goals instead of touchdowns. Kicker doesn't come through in the clutch, and crappy defense. That defense played very well, but at the end, when you need to stop them or the game is over,
you jump off sides. You jump off sides, and and I was sitting there going, "You jumped off sides," and I go, "That's a first down."
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think, I was like, why? And then it was 4th and 1 again. I was like, why the hell? I had to message Mel. I said, Mel, why is it not first down? He said half the distance.
Yeah.
And
that was the same conversation I was having.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, gosh, well, we got it. And then I was like, now it seemed far away again. When it was 3 yards out, that was a huge mistake. You cannot really understate or overstate, whatever the proper way of describing that. You know what I'm trying to say is it was a extreme fuck up.
Right.
And we appreciate it. It was a couple of times you guys did that, but for me, I felt at 4th and 3 that you guys had the advantage. At 4 and 1, I felt like, all right, we can get this. And then Cam Newton fumbled it, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was, and I'm right with you. You're exactly right. That was the only time, like 4th and 3. I'm like, hey, if we stop him here, we win this.
Yeah.
4th and 3 with such a compressed field. Throwing's not really a great option, and then running's not a great option. But then it was like 4th and less than 1 because Chris Baker, who by the way is not everyone's favorite player this week, obviously, the guy that jumped off sides. At 4th and 1, you got Cam Newton in your backfield. It's like, okay, yeah, now the game's over. So yeah, it's like I said, that's a perfect microcosm of 80% of Buccaneers games. We haven't been blown up by anybody. No one has stopped our offense all year. We constantly shoot ourselves in the foot, which you saw 4 times we jumped off sides. Defense. We had some guy, Anthony Auclair, our Canadian, false start twice on our final drive. We had the ball. So that I'm telling you guys, you want to know what's happened to the Buccaneers? There it is. That's your game.
You're
that's
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I told you last week, never kick again. I think I sent you a message during the game. No response from this one. And I know I didn't deserve it.
Well, no,
but
I'm up in I'm up in the hills, man. The cell service up here is
it's okay. That was when you guys missed that field goal because the kick. I was like I said earlier in the show, I was moving back and forth between the living room and the kitchen, getting ready for Christmas Eve dinner. And I was like, oh my God, again, like dagger, moving the ball. This game, when you guys lined up to kick, I was like, this game is over if they make this kick. And then I hear it. I heard it. I didn't even see it. I said, I was sitting there texting, never kick again. Never kick again. Joey, their secondary, our secondary got torched, though. Jameis Winston put up like 3,000 yards, I felt like.
Every time they had a third down, it felt like they converted.
Yeah, like a 25-yard play, too.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. We could not stop them on third down. Thank God that, when they got on our side of the 50, their offense tended to break down, especially once they got inside like the 25. And we were able to keep them to field goals. But, man, they kept drive alive all game long. It was really frustrating. Bradbury, I was watching a pregame, actually it was a fantasy show, and they were talking about cornerback matchups to watch. The number one matchup, they said, Mike
Evans.
Mike Evans was going to eat Bradbury's lunch. They said every
he
time
did.
they met, Evans has killed him. And I was like, no way, it's not going to happen now. Well, lo and behold, he made Bradbury look bad. Right, bad.
He was huffing and puffing. I think that on top of that, too, when we kicked the ball and we punted the ball and it was inside the 10, I thought, all right, this is a way we can switch the fields and we can stick around in this game. And then you get like I think it was pass interference or the holding by Bradbury or something that then got him out of the end zone. And then it gets torched. I think Mike Evans had 106 yards or something, or 103 yards on like 6 catches.
Yep.
He dominated. And, I'd like to say that it was – well, actually, I wouldn't like to say this. But, Ren, I mean – how much was that Jameis Winston? And how much of that was, first, Peppers, that one play, it was early in the game. Peppers grabbed him by the shoulder pad, ran by him, twisted him around, and I was like, come on, Pep, because that's my guy. He grew up down the road from me.
He's Panther royalty.
Yeah, I'm sitting there going, I want him to get like 20 sacks this year. And he could. There's like 5 sacks he's left on the field. Just lucky plays like this. Winston like spins around like a top and then throws the ball downfield. And dude is just like wide open. How much was that Winston playing well? And how much was that, do you think, our secondary playing like trash? Cell service in the mountains. Here it comes. He'll be back, Joey.
Oh,
there he is. He's back.
Hey, well, that's the thing with Jameis Winston. What's so frustrating with him? I sort of said when I was on last week that I think Jameis Winston has played really good football since he came back from his injury. Even though he hasn't won a game, he's played really good. That Atlanta game and the Panthers game, he has a QBR of over 130. Now, when things are going poorly for Jameis Winston, he either fumbles that ball, which you saw he does in the pocket. He's too loose with it. He dropped 2 and muffed the snap, so he had 3 fumbles, so he had no interceptions. He either fumbles that ball and you fall on it, or when he spins around and throws it, it gets intercepted. That's when things are going bad. When things are going good, you get the Carolina game where he threw the 50-50 ball up to Adam Humphries, like on the 7-yard line. He was standing flat-footed, sort of got out of a sack and just chucked it. And he did that twice. One, like you said, was early with Peppers, and then he did it again where it's not really great decisions with the football, but he extended the play through his athleticism and got the ball down the field for a big play. But that is Jameis Winston. You're not going to change him. That is what's going to happen.
Yeah, he had 3 fumbles on the day. And he was some of it was reckless. One of it was a bobbled snap. So he goes, and then he, like you said, that is Jameis Winston. It seems like you were right that was a microcosm of the Bucs. You saw everything the Bucs do well and everything they do poorly in one game. So if you had to watch one game of the season and you're an outsider and you want to know what's going on with Tampa Bay, that is the one to watch.
That's the game to watch.
Now, when it comes to tell us about this. Jameis Winston had a meltdown. Absolute meltdown at the end of the game. And as Peppers got his second fumble recovery of the game, I think, maybe.
Probably.
What happened there? Why was he so pissed?
This is the story that's floating around down here well, I shouldn't say down here because I'm in North Carolina right now. But, all the people I follow on Twitter, and of course I follow all the Buck stuff on social media. So the story going around is that Jameis Winston got the ball knocked out and he jumped on it first. And he had the ball the whole time. And when he got up and the ref said, "We're telling him Panthers ball," he was having nothing of it. And you got to think about how much the frustration of this buildup had been, how frustration of that game. I think if he loses to the Saints next week, I think that'll be like 11 losses in a row as a starter this year for him.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, because we went 2-2, and then he lost a couple games, and then got hurt, and then when they won 2 more with Fitzpatrick, and since he's been back, we haven't won yet. They've all been games almost identical to what you saw Sunday, but so, and that's how Jameis is. Like, you see the competitiveness of the pocket by not going down, extending the play. That's the same way when you're fighting for that, and all in his head, he just needs to get in the field goal range, and we're going to tie it, then we're going to get the ball, then we're going to win the game in overtime, and then you fumble the ball, you get it back, you land on it, and the rest just take it away from you. He lost it, and that's Jameis Winston. Like, you're not, and no one has I haven't really seen a lot sort of a Tampa Bay Buccaneers Twitter that people are yelling at Winston about it. He does obviously have some character red flags that you hope have gone away, but every once in a while they kind of poke their head out, and you're like, I'm not really sure I want to hitch my train to this wagon, 100%. But most Buck fans are with, I would like to see more of that from other guys from the team, more of that passion. Now, Jameis, when he gets that heated, he does take it too far. Like, the next play, he almost ran on the field. He ran over like a Bucks executive getting out there.
Yeah, like it looked like it was Photoshop. Somebody took a picture of it. They paused their DVR and took a picture of it.
Right.
And the guy that was trying to stop him, or whatever he was pushing out of the way, he looked like he didn't even belong on the field. Like you said, an executive. And Jameis Winston was just going past him. I thought, like, is this Photoshopped? What is going on here?
No.
Here is my question about this: is what has been the response, not just of fans but of the media, to Winston's behavior in that manner? What's the tone? Is he is it seen as competitor? Because the immediate thing, since this is a Panthers podcast, we're going to talk about this, is everybody is going to say this. If Cam Newton does that, they're going to blow up the damn earth ends. And so what was there pushback? How did that moment go over?
Just sort of what I told you. Honestly, it's like because the Bucs had such a disappointing season, a lot of the media guys were like, well, where was this fire from the other players in October? Now, Jameis Winston's done a lot of stupid things. Like earlier this year, he came off the sidelines and pushed Sean Lattimore in the back of the head during the Saints game.
Yep.
That's dumb. You know, the year before that, he like got into a fight with a defensive tackle on Sunday Night Football in Dallas. The year before that, he got in a fight
He
with
stole
Aaron
crab
Donald.
legs.
Stole crab legs. Yeah, there's
Raped
a long
a girl.
list of like
All right.
allegedly. But so there's a long list of red flags when it sort of comes to Jameis Winston's character. But if you're in the building all the time and you hear him speak and know how passionate he is and how hard he works, those are kind of things that, you know, if he's your quarterback, you look over. Obviously not the rape allegation. You don't look that over, but that was, you know, that's pushing 4 years ago now.
Well, kind of. When you drafted him, that's what you did, but that's okay. And well, it's not okay, but we understand.
Well,
Joey, Joey, is that what you do?
No charges were ever brought against him.
Right. I mean, that, and I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not here to drag Winston's character through the mud. This is more about this, Joey, is we heard this, and I'm not going to give Ren a tough time about this. Our point is completely about this, is if Cam Newton, is that this is where Cam Newton, we cape up for Cam. Right. Joey, Cam Newton he misuses a word, and they call them Camisms in Charlotte, my buddy told me. I didn't even know this. They call them Camisms when he misuses words.
Which he does often,
yeah,
surprisingly.
He does. He does this, but this would be why is it, Joey? Am I the only one that gets, do you feel that defensiveness we get with Cam Newton? You see another player, and that's a reasonable response. Passionate, emotional guy, wears his he's done. Yes. Are these dumb things? Yes. He wears his emotions on his sleeves, competitor. I just feel like this. We always feel like Cam never gets that benefit of the doubt.
No, we always feel that way because we're used to him not getting it. And it's been that way for a while. I think someone in the chat room brought up a good point about, you know, Jameis Winston is emotional, but he's still very young. And we got to remember how Cam was when he came into the league, how he was not used to losing, and he
pouting.
Not a good loser. And you don't want a teammate that is a good loser, but you want a teammate that can handle losing.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with what Winston did. In fact, is like, I mean, this to me, these things are blips on the radar when it comes to discussion and things. We see Tom Brady do all this all the time. We saw Brock Osweiler do this on the sidelines, and nobody paid attention. That was awesome.
Right. Everybody did it.
It's interesting to me how some narratives take seed or take root, should I say, and other ones don't. And I'm not saying this one needed to root into to be bigger, but the immediate thing on the Panther Twitter is, well, if that was Cam, the whole damn internet would have broke. If that was Cam.
Yeah. Well, and you know, that's absolutely true. But what I will say is there's two ways that has happened. One, the people that follow Cam and write for the newspapers, the beat writers that are with him every day, they're the ones that have to spin this narrative into competitor. If they all jump on board, oh, here's another red flag from Cam, the fans are going to follow. So it starts there. And Cam has more cachet, and he's way more higher in the spotlight than Jameis Winston is.
I love to hear that.
You know, he came in as the number one overall pick. He came in as like, hey, I want my stratosphere. I want my label. I'm my own social system. You know, the stuff he used to say coming into the league, he did well. I think he's probably one of the most hated players in the NFL because, in my opinion, you know, he's your quarterback. You love him to death. I don't hate him. I think he's a great competitor. I think he's a front runner. If he's winning, he's all smiles and in your face. But as soon as he's losing, start playing. People love to hate Cam. It's
Yeah.
gonna follow him until you're.
People do love to hate Cam. Joey, we got Carlton Davis in the YouTube chat room said this 30 minutes ago, and I saw it, and I want to talk about it. He said this, Tony, let's talk about Stewart dancing in the hole instead of running, hitting it hard. And you know what I want to say to Carlton, Joey, is what's new?
Yeah. This is true. Stewart was at one time known for being a battering ram type of a running back. He'd hit that hole and smash through whatever was in there. Now, I don't know. It's not running with the same authority. Maybe it's because he's got something to prove because of McCaffrey. Maybe he's trying to show, hey, I can be McCaffrey, but that's not what we want from him. We need him to be that juggernaut.
I saw one response, Joey, that said 7 games with 30 or yards less this season.
That's awful. Absolutely.
I don't want to dislike him, but people that listen to this podcast and the people that are hanging out here, they listen each and every week. They come and chat with us. They bring these points to us before we even bring them up. But I'm sitting there watching the game, and guess who's 3 letters that I'm saying when I see that? CAP. Just give him a chance. Couple carries, folks. But I didn't even want to tweet it. I didn't tweet it. I actually was starting to tweet it as normal. Like, what's the harm in giving Cap a couple of carries? But then I was thinking, I didn't even check the inactives today. He could have, for all I know, he's not even active.
Right. For all you know, he didn't have a uniform.
Yeah. So I don't want to hate on Jay Stu, but you're right. There is a hesitancy there. When I look at around the league, and where I see it more than anything is when I turn on other teams. When I look at and I watch their running back, and I'm like, damn, that guy's fast. And they're not super fast. They're just, to me, it shows that Jonathan Stewart, it just doesn't have that extra gear anymore. And I'm not saying he needs to be Ty Gurley or anything. But you see, I saw the guy, the Collins dude from, I think, Baltimore.
Yeah.
And he went around the edge, and he got on the edge, and he was just beating dudes. I mean, just pure flat out. And I was like, no way our guys could do that. Yeah. Or at least Jay Stu. So, all right, so we're going into the playoffs after a game. We got to play Atlanta. After a game where we played like just turd. I mean, it was awful. It was one of the hardest moments. That fourth quarter, dude, was the hardest thing to watch for me. I mean, but I felt like, hey, we can come back and we can get this. When you guys were lining up to kick the field goal, I was like, we can't get this. When it was 4th and 3, I was like, it's over. We're not going to get this. Then you jump off sides. We got this, and we're in the playoffs. We got to play Atlanta. I think, Joey, now that Bird's on IR, Cam, I don't know what to do. Where is our team going to win at? Our secondary is not that great. I think Kuechly, oddly, has not been playing. Now, this will not be a popular take. I don't think he's been playing at the top of his game lately. And not even – I just think he's been playing less than Kuechly-like lately. So – if you got all of these factors going in, I just got to say this is I think that we really need McCaffrey to go berserko for 5 games. Like berserko.
Go on a tear.
Yeah, like what Hunt did at the beginning of the season, like Dalvin Cook did at the beginning of the season, what Kamara has done all year. We need that from McCaffrey.
Yeah, I would love to see him go on a tear. That would be great for this team, and it really is what we need. We need him to be the best he's been all season.
Yeah, better. And not that he's been bad. We need him to be great at this point. Ren, from the outside, you guys got Atlanta next week, right? Not Atlanta, New Orleans. Can you spoil?
Saints. Yeah.
Can you spoil them?
Are you going to play spoiler?
Please.
Spoil them for you. Well, I'll tell you what. The best I can do for you is a game that we had against you. That's the best you can hope for.
So you're going to keep it close. But
the worst you can hope for.
So it's like a hot girl that you're just friends with.
Okay, we'll say that's the best you can hope for, and then maybe that. We're nothing more than those guys want to win. Like, Jameis Winston doesn't want to go out on an 11-game losing streak. But what I'm saying is we're not going to go out there and blow the Saints out 45-10.
Sure.
It's just not going to happen.
Right.
That was probably our best defensive performance last week against you, but I think that really had more to do with Cam's decision-making and his game stayed in. It's not like the guys weren't open. He had a little bad luck with the interception, but he just wasn't accurate enough with the ball on third down.
I think people were dropping shit. That's what for me is. I looked at Cam.
We're gonna win.
I was looking at Cam, Joey. I didn't think he had a bad game. The interception bounced off of somebody. There's people dropping balls left and right on big downs. Nothing was going well. Now, did he? He didn't just burn it out, or I guess by any means. But I did. When I looked at the game, I go, he's not the problem. But again, I'm caping up for Cam. So Ren, let's just hope it doesn't come down to a field goal.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have to see. New Orleans receivers don't really scare me. What scares me against our defense is the 1-2 of Ingram and Kamara, which is
that scares everybody.
Kamara made us last time we played him. I mean, and the team, quite honestly, didn't play that hard defensively. So we're gonna try. I also guys, get some turnovers. But I feel this game, if we're gonna win, it's gonna be something like 7.
All right.
And the score is gonna flip flop through the whole entire game.
I hear you. All right, Ren, tell them where they can find your work. We're going to let you get out of here, and we're going to get to the cat calls.
Yeah, let's do it. At Reddax, REN_DAXT. You can find me on Twitter. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football. I'm sure your listeners could care less about that. But
twice a year.
That's what I do. I also have a podcast called the Pewter Podcast. Twice a year. There you go. Twice to me. The Pewtercast is the podcast, Buccaneers podcast, but also on the Pewter Plank, pewterplank.com. It's powered by Fanside. We have our own app. So if you're interested, next year when the Bucs are coming to town, or you guys are coming down here to play the Bucs, just jump on the Pewter Plank, and you have all the information going on right with the Buccaneers.
All right, fantastic, Ren. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks, Ren.
Good to talk to you. Yeah, no problem.
All right, a couple more things, Joey, before we get to the cat calls, just to talk about. I think that, I disagree with the take in this case that Cam was off this week. I think that he didn't have anybody. I think you had bobbles, you had drop passes. The offense didn't even give him a chance to even really be good, though. Mm-hmm. Like, we just weren't ever in a position. I think Joe Person, I saw a tweet or some sort of line that said that Joe Person even called out Mike Shula's game plan.
Yeah, and it was awful.
It just really it looked like we were playing I think it looked like this: is we just wanted to win by 1 point or a field goal the whole time,
right
from the very first moment.
Right, and I agree. They did. You got to give credit to the Bucs for taking away Greg Olsen. They took him out of the game. They had him bracketed in coverage a lot from what I remember seeing. And, he was a non-factor, really.
Yeah.
So
I mean, 3 catches, 27 yards, something like that, I believe.
Yeah, that definitely hurts. And the run game was, not very effective. Cam didn't. I thought there were a few times when he should have run the ball instead of waiting in the pocket. I feel like he just wasn't aggressive enough when they were dropping back to pass. Sometimes instead of waiting, you just got to take off and get 5 or 6 yards instead of incompletion.
I feel like our game plan too, Joey, is kind of predictable. For
sure.
And the one thing that gives me this is that you go down, you have the Bucs have lost the game for you and giving you this, like you said, they're allowing you back into this game. You're down, it's like first and 10 or something like that, and you're like on the 12 or wherever right before you're in the first and goal, right? And it's the first play they call is the quarterback draw. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it was a design run play. It meant to look like a pass where I feel like we just do that every time. That's the first play we're going to run where we're in the red zone and it's first down. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't run Cam there. But it just seems the same exact play.
Right. Maybe run a different play first.
or you run it to the left, or you run it to the right. It's just the same play.
Yeah, we do have. I felt that way all season. That our offensive game plan has a high level of predictability. And
I think Green Bay may have been the only time it wasn't like that when we threw it to McCaffrey 7 times.
Right.
In the beginning. That was like week 1 over again. It was, I've been actually a Shula supporter. I think that he's been the fall guy in so many ways, but that game, coaching, execution, defense, offense, all of it was bad.
Special teams was the highlight.
Yeah. And then the highlight was Birds on IR, man. It's crazy. What we told y'all. Maybe y'all should listen to us. Damiere Byrd, Cameron Artis-Payne, 2 names that we stuck with. Byrd, by the way, had 1 catch for 31 yards in that game. He's explosive. Poor guy just couldn't make it out of that pile. I think his own player hurt fell on him or something like that. But trying to make a lot happen. A couple of things, Joey. We got to go to it. We got to go to Atlanta. After a game like that, I feel like after Green Bay, I thought, man, we could kick ass and run the table.
Right.
We're ticking up. Right. After that game, after the Tampa Bay game, I don't think we can beat anybody.
Right.
Except for Tampa.
We got to go into Atlanta and play them after how we played at home. We were bad, man. We were bad,
but good news. Good news. Turns out Atlanta is also bad.
Yes. You're right. That is good news. So we have, we know we're in, but there's more. We have something to play for here. If we win this game and somehow the Bucs are able to, I think even if they just tie the Saints, we could win the division, and if the Vikings lose, we could be the number 2 seed and have a bye and host a playoff game.
I think
something to play for.
Adam Sanders says, but Atlanta has Julio, and yes, they do have Julio, and he wasn't saying,
good,
yeah,
but he's had a bad year, man.
Yeah,
he had one incredible game this year where I think he got like 245 yards or something crazy like that. But other than that game, nothing's really stood out. It's been a down year for him.
It has been, but he's also better than, he's just as good, if not better than Mike Evans. And he really, the only reason he's had a bad year is by his own volition, his own mishaps. Not like he was torching our secondary and doing all that, and he just dropped the ball. I'm just watching this video for the first time, Joey, of the Kelvin Benjamin catch. Did you get to see it? The one they took back against New England?
I did see it, and I didn't think it was a good call.
Man, that's a catch. You know what I'm sitting here going, though, is that not only is a catch, Kelvin Benjamin looks so big. He's got to be back up to 260. He's a big boy. Wouldn't hurt for us to have him back right now, probably at this point, but all right. Let's go. Let's see. Anything? I did think that Shaked mentioned this, that we get Charles Johnson back. And who else off of suspension? Thomas Davis.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes a big difference.
I have to say, I think TD's absence did affect our defense. I think Shaq played a pretty good game.
I thought so.
I think not having TD there did affect our defense. And, he's a Georgia boy. So he's going home. And, he's going to want to play his best. You know what I mean? He's going to want to really bring his top game.
Yeah. I think this is, for me, Charles Johnson coming back doesn't matter.
No, I agree. Adam Sanders says, keep Charles Johnson on the sidelines. Wes Horton is in beast mode right now. I have to agree with him.
And the Brian Cox Jr., is that his name? He is the one that scooped up that Jameis Winston fumble that looked like a pass. That was a repeat of, who was it that did that 2 weeks ago against, actually, was it Jameis Winston the last time? No, it was Minnesota. Remember where he slapped it forward?
Yeah.
And TD picked it up? Or no, Mike Adams picked it up. And
and tried to run it back, but I think
they gave it to him. They did. Yeah. Remember, everybody was like standing around thinking the play was over, and Mike Adams picked it up. I will say this is good news for the Panthers is nobody let that ball sit there this week. And
it went right away.
But Horton, Cox Jr., I believe his name is. Mm-hmm. These guys, they're playing pretty. They're playing pretty solid. If anything, you're bringing back Charles Johnson for depth. Ron Rivera did say that he would have to be in shape and this and that, so he's not just getting a spot back. So thank goodness it only took that.
One thing that we mentioned in the Tampa Bay game that really had me upset was the holding call on Tampa Bay that was giving us a safety, but Starr got frustrated and got a foul call.
That got flopped. That guy took a dive.
I agree. I think he did totally flop, but nonetheless, it pissed me off that Starr would let that guy, get under his skin like that. And it really, that 2 points. And plus we're getting the ball back, could have, but the outcome of the game could have been a little different with that. But, that's just, I just wanted to bring that up because that was, I thought, an important play at the time.
He did take you're looking at that and you hear the commentators, because you go off of what the commentators say a lot of times as helping your initial reaction to a play, especially if it's one of those that's not featured on the camera, that's kind of off camera or not at the focal point of the play. We're all watching Jameis Winston in the end zone there, not what happens to Starr 5 seconds later. So I was like, God darn it, Starr. You know what I'm saying? Like, God. And then I watched it, and it looked like they were kind of locked up, and that guy wouldn't let go of them. And he just gave him a little. I just felt like that's what happens when 300-pound dudes give you a hug or a tap on the back, But that dude just sold it. He totally sold it. But you can't have those things.
And really, I thought the safety should have counted because the personal foul happened after the play was over.
This is what Atsilla H says, but Starr push happened after the whistle. IIRC, which I don't know what that means, Joe, you probably mean, but I'm guessing that it shouldn't be off, so it shouldn't be offsetting.
Well, that's what I thought. I figured it would have been Panthers ball, foul assessed half the distance from the 20-yard line, or they would have gotten to kick 15 yards ahead on the free kick. You know what I mean? They'd have gotten the yards on the punt.
I don't like offsetting penalties. I think that there has to be, not that there shouldn't be any case where there's an offsetting penalty, but I feel like there's certain degrees of penalties and how they relate to the game. So if there's just two penalties on the team by opposite sides, they shouldn't just offset no matter what. And I don't know what the details of those rules are, but you shouldn't have a 5-yard penalty offset a 25-yard penalty.
Well, I agree, and I know in certain instances there is situations where offsetting penalties may happen, but one will still get enforced. I think
they need to revisit what those, or maybe I need to visit the rule book. That might be the best thing for me to start before I start ducking junk. But it just seems to me that if anything, and Adam Sanders says this, can we all agree that officiating is at an all-time low this year? Well, I think that we're going to have full-time refs, so hopefully that will help
the quality of officiating.
Yeah, I think it has to be bad. But we got to give them some credit on this, is that, some of it, they're working by the rules that are in place. So all this catch nonsense, you got to just simplify the rules. You should simplify. It should be less rules, not more. Right? Kind of like the Constitution is. The Constitution is actually very short. And it's like kind of broad statements on government where you then, you apply it in those instances rather than when you get so meticulously detailed on what a catch is. You get just bogged down in this. I do think I would like to see some thought or conversation about that fouls away from the play. Where can we deem, is there like misdemeanors and felonies? But when it's away from the play and it has nothing to do with it and it negates all of everything, to me that it just always irks me. You're like, there was a hold on the 20 when that guy was already in the end zone. And it kind of, and I don't know how we fix this. I'll let the smarter people do that, Joey. But I guess our suggestion here is simplification could go a long way.
Right. I think so. I think the more you can do to declutter, the better.
All right, let's jump in these cat calls, and then we'll ice some people up and get the hell on out of here to have a happy new year, Joe.
Yeah.
Before we get into the calls, though, would remind us is that, first of all, I know everybody has been remarkably busy with the holidays. In fact, we only had 2 cat calls this week. So we thank those callers for calling in and supporting. We thank everybody for tuning in with us this Tuesday night, spending their holidays with C3, part of Panther Nation, getting things together. So while you're here, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Maybe even click that little bell that says, hey, these dudes are broadcasting live. That notification bell on YouTube. If you're listening later on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, or wherever you get your podcast, we appreciate it. You can always find our work at CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Follow us on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. And we really appreciate if you could consider just giving the show a share with a friend or with Panther Nation, and maybe even checking out that Patreon link in the show notes. You can donate as little as $1 a month to the show. I mean, $12, that's like less than a cup of coffee twice a year for a lot of people. Could really help this show continue to grow, continue to bring good guests, continue to bring consistent conversation for the Panthers. Look at this. We're on 47 shows this year, Joey. We won't be, or actually, we've done one every week this year, but we're going to do 52 this season. We're 47 deep. We'll have a couple after the new year. So we appreciate all y'all's support, and you can always join the conversation yourselves by calling 252-228-5098. That's the Cat Calls line. It's open all day, every day. Just leave a message before, after, or during the game. We'd love to hear your response as a fan. That's 252-228-5098. So here's our Cat Calls for this week.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty you shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like...
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his notebook? Who's that kid that can use one?
Oh, by the way, if you got kids in the car, mute it.
Cat Calls line. This is JJ from Carborough. And I just want to say, first off, fuck the bus. Fuck the bus. And I don't know if you believe that out or not, but fuck the bus. Also, Pete, you want to put Colin Kaepernick in as quarterback? Are you for real, man? Come on, bro. That is the dumbest thing I have heard. That shows your lack of knowledge of this team. I don't mind you owning the team, but dude, you gotta know that Tim is the pro. And as far as this upcoming game, I know I mentioned it at the beginning, but I'd like to add one last time. I'm out.
Tony Dunn, freaking Puerto Rican Joe Riolano, Mel Mayock, we're still praying for you and your wife, buddy. What's up, guys? It's Cody Lashley from the YouTube chat. And just a few things. I think we have some cause for concern and some cause to be hopeful. We were outcoached for damn near 4 quarters of football. And that's not a good thing. I don't know what happened to Mike Shula's game plan. I mean, I know we shit on that guy a lot. But, you know, credit where credit is due. From time to time, he does have a pretty good game plan going forward. But then he just lays an egg and picks these games where he's absolutely incompetent. I don't know what that's about, and I don't know what that was about for Ron Rivera either. The thing to be hopeful about is the Panthers play to the level of their competition. If they're playing a bad team, they play bad football. Well, now we're in the playoffs, thank God, and we're not going to have bad competition. We're going to have a lot of good teams that we have to play, and I think that's when the Panthers shine the brightest. Love you, boys. Keep pounding.
That's why he's the YouTube champ, Joe. Man, a lot of important things there. I didn't even remember this. The fake punt by Pillardin. Yeah. where that dude tackled him before the ball was even like, it was 5 yards away.
Right. It was before it even passed the line of scrimmage. He was hitting the guy.
Yeah, it was. And then I don't know if it was him or if they gave the penalty to the wrong dude, you know, where they called the guy. And then they was on the sideline. He was like, it was me. Like,
right.
I don't know if it was you or not, bro, but that was a penalty. So that was the most aggressive you've seen Ron Rivera. Again, look, Riverboat Ron, here he is at the end in the one moment where it matters and doesn't matter, I guess. I don't know. I think, look, is that this coaching staff has shown its some limitations. I think Ron Rivera would be better suited with some more aggressive offensive guys underneath him. He's a defensive mind. I think he could be a great head coach. I think he has a good way of, obviously the team sticks with him. The players have a lot of respect for him. So I think he has a lot of the things that are managerial type qualities. So Shula has shown that he has some limitations as well. I think, too, one other thing we saw is what happens that Wilks, before we go and crown Wilks a genius, a couple of those blitzes didn't work out too much, Joey.
No, too many of them didn't work out good enough, unfortunately, because they were killing us on third down.
Yeah. A couple of names, speaking of, is that, and I do think this is important, I think that one important thing about a leader is being able to eye talent and to not feel that talent, I guess, insults you or undermines your authority, right? You have to have a confidence. You don't want to have any self-esteem problems. I think this is one of the things that, like, historians talk about with George Washington a lot, like our president. Sorry, I'm a historian, and that's my period, is that he wasn't the most brilliant dude at anything when it comes to military politics, but he was really good at eyeballing people that were talented and giving them a lot of responsibility. And he was also a good decision maker, and that is that he had a kind of ability to make tough calls and stick with them, whether they were right or wrong. And so what we need is a head coach that can do that. And maybe we'll see this going into next season, because there's some names like Kevin Ketchy has mentioned in the YouTube chat, Bruce Arians, who has decided to part ways with the Arizona Cardinals. And then another is Hugh Jackson, who is no longer probably going to be with the Bears or Browns, excuse me. So there are some guys out there that have been known as kind of offensive gurus, but haven't been able necessarily to cut it as head coaches. We've seen Ron Rivera can be a head coach. Maybe if he gets some of those dudes underneath him, Joey, he can go a long way.
Yeah, I would love to have Bruce Arians come in and run this offense. It'd be great to see what he could do.
Yeah, I'd love to just, and you know what, is that you have Ron Rivera, no emotion, and Bruce Arians looking like he's going to have a damn heart attack over there. You know, like, it would be a yin and a yang. So,
yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to see him fuming on the sideline over
and
our
Rivera
back.
just like this.
Yeah, right.
That'd be awesome. All right, Joey, let's...
Hold on. All right, Tin Tizzy says, fake news, Slim J says, Hugh Jackson will be back. Fake news, Arians not leaving.
Okay. I saw a tweet today from Rappaport, or who's the ESPN one? Their version of There's Rappaport for one of them, and then it's Schefter.
Right. Schefter and Rappaport.
So I saw that, is that, and who cares? And you're right, and I don't know what their future of those guys are. So Arian, I think I saw Jeff Schwartz talking about it too, Bruce Arians.
Okay.
They haven't, but who knows, right? And I do think that unless we win a Super Bowl this year, Mike Shula, his job is very on the line.
Right. If we don't win, I have to believe that somebody's sitting there thinking, okay, this guy's been there for a few years. The offense really hasn't. Only 2015. That was the one time his offense was really. And I don't know that it was the offense. It was just the players were on fire that year. Cam was just playing out of his mind. So, yeah, I think somebody's got to look at it and be like, the offense is very inconsistent. So you have to look at the coordinator. Shaked said that Shula is on Twitter. Now, you can find him at Good Shula.
Oh, that's not the real one. That is not the real one. Don't worry. That's not. Tin Tizzy is right. About the Arian story, or at least Arian has come out and said that this was fake news. Fake news. Fake news. So thanks, guys. I appreciate that. We had somebody that retracted a message. So I want to know what they said.
Right, the Browns are fake news franchise. Slim.
All right. Let's see. The other thing is that we've got two. Let's do a picks real quick, and we'll do our ice up picks. Joey, picks of the week is Panthers at Atlanta and Tampa at Saints. I don't know where they're playing.
I think that's right.
I'm going Panthers and Saints. And I don't feel good about the Panthers one.
Yeah. I think the Panthers will be I want the Panthers to pull it out. I think we do have a bounce back game on offense.
We are kind of an every other team.
Yeah. I think TD shows up and that defense plays inspired. Like I said, we do have something to play for.
Yeah.
This isn't just a game that we're having in between, our last game and the playoffs. We do have something to play for. We win and we have a chance to really do something well. It's going to take a Herculean effort from the Bucs, but the chance is there. If we do our part, let's see what happens with the other teams involved.
Saints are in Tampa, but that actually
that's better.
It doesn't change it. Yeah, it's better for Tampa by like a what hair.
Right. Right. Okay, I gotcha.
I mean, it doesn't help Tampa, but so much. The Saints, they do have something to play for as well. The Bucs
and the Falcons.
The Bucs. The Bucs are the only team that don't really have anything to play for.
Right. That's what Deep Weezer says. He says they are. I guess the Falcons are fighting for their playoff lives, so they really have something to bring. And this, I guess, also gives us a chance to play the role of spoiler. Atlanta is like our nemesis.
Yeah, if there's one team I want to ruin their day, it's Atlanta. The one thing I hadn't even thought about that we don't like, we do have something to play for, but it is not like imperative. I mean, it's kind of a long shot, right?
Yeah.
That it matters. But to me, it matters. I hadn't even thought about that point because it matters so much. Because the team, I think we need it. We're playing for ourselves.
Yes.
After last week, we better be playing for some damn pride. Like, I need a win to tell it myself that date that went horrible last week was Yeah.
I got you. I agree.
Okay, so those are our picks. We're pretty much on the same page. Joe, you got an ice up pick for me this week?
Yeah, I do. It's a quick one. Stupid criminals. I saw a newspaper article from an Augusta, Georgia newspaper article mentioning, it was funny, not a lot of details, but said that a food delivery driver had been gone for over an hour. So the manager called the sheriff, the sheriff's department, worried something had happened to the person. They were robbed or shot or something. So the sheriff's department went out looking. Well, the deputy shows up at the restaurant that the person had been delivering from. It was a female, and said that they had found the female. And, the manager was relieved, so he asked what had happened. And he said that they did locate the female, and when they found her, she had, she said, well, I made the delivery, and she had $190, so I guess it was a big delivery, $190 of the company, the restaurant's money. She stopped and bought some cocaine. With that
She's having a good time.
But the funniest part was, she said, I was going to pay him back in a couple of days. I just needed to use the money right now. So the deputy relayed that message to the manager, who declined the offer and decided he did want to prosecute. So I guess
so she quit. So she kind of quit on the job with her bank. You know what I mean by the bank. She got.
He's an idiot for giving her that much money in the first place. I say, what we can learn from this is do not use company funds to buy your drugs. Buy your drugs with your own money. Do not use, because they are going to come looking for it, especially if you're a food delivery driver. And I can say that because that's what I have been one before. So they will get their money from you, and they will send you to jail for spending it on drugs.
Yeah, well, I've been a pizza delivery driver before, and sometimes you just don't want to come back. You just hang with your boys. Yeah. That's my best. Is when I just hang with my boys on.
Pick up a little something on your way back. But
there you go.
Don't use
the best job is that it's the best job for a teenager who just rides around and smokes cigarettes and listens to music and then delivers pizzas and stops by his buddy's house and chills for 20 minutes every other hour. A night. That's what I used to do. All right, so my ice up pick is gonna go to, I think I'm gonna ice up this Star Wars movie, Joey.
I can't believe you're doing it. You're hurting my feelings. I haven't seen it, so don't spoil it.
All right, The Last Jedi. I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm just gonna say this one word. I thought it was cheesy. That's it. All right. So, and the reason I bring this up is I'm looking at headlines right now. Mark Hamill regrets trash talking Luke Skywalker's direction in The Last Jedi. He said he disagreed with the direction of the character or whatever it may be. I just thought it was a little cheesy. I need these newer Star Wars movies. It's this way. I'm just going to say this, is it shows you the difficulty of making sequels. And I don't think it, and a sequel to not only in a great scene. I was thinking about Christian McCaffrey. Actually, I was talking to somebody about Christian McCaffrey with this, and they said, "Oh, Christian McCaffrey's having a good year." I said, "Yeah, pretty good." I hadn't seen him in a while, and he's like, "Oh, I thought you would have, been going crazy and gushing over him." And I just said, "Hey, when your expectations are through the roof, it's tough to live up to them." You know what I mean? Is that he's had a good year, but man, we needed it. We want it to be just out of this world. Right. You're living up to the expectation, the original Star Wars movies that kind of changed the way storytelling was done a little bit. I feel like in the movies,
when movies were made, man.
Yeah, and so I feel like all of the later movies have had difficulty living up to that. Maybe that's me. Maybe that's the movie. I took my kid. He really liked it, though.
There you go.
I did watch it, and it was. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was 2.5 hours long, and I didn't go, "Oh, this is so long." Like I did that one where was the third new one where they made Darth Vader, like where you saw Anakin become Darth Vader.
Oh, yeah.
That was so.
Attack of the Clones, was it?
Or Revenge of the Sith, whatever the one it was, where you see him at the end. I was like in the movie theater going, "Please, just can we go home?"
Yeah.
So long. I didn't feel that way with this one, so maybe that's a good sign, but I thought it was cheesy. So I'm icing that up.
You know, what went down was he made all the movies. They were in a storage locker, and that storage locker
they burned up or something?
Yeah, got caught on fire. So they were only able to release, I think, the first 6 that came out. But they had them all made, had them all done.
Well, I tell you this, wouldn't it be great if they lived in the age where they had Google Drive? They could just put that shit on the cloud.
It would have been so different.
Put that shit on the cloud. All right, this is the C3 podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Skipping the outro music. Joey, just tell them your Twitter handle.
You can find me on Twitter at Joe Riolano. Please enjoy the rest of your holiday. Have a happy new year. Will we see him again before the new year?
No, I think we come back on the 2nd.
Yeah. So, guys, be safe. Enjoy, but please, more than anything, be safe. We want to keep all of our Panther fans around so that we can see this Super Bowl run.
All right. My name's Tony Dunn. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. You can call into the Cat Calls line at 252-228-5098. We'll be back in 2018 bringing you the only Carolina Panthers podcast that makes it each and every week. I told Joey that this was going to be a brief show, and an hour and a half later, I've kept him up. So, Joey, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. If I don't talk, I will talk to you plenty, but
sure.
God bless, man.
God bless. And see you next year, guys.
Good night.